I joined IPC in the end of 2011, and I think you first heard from us at the Washington meeting. My boss Bob Walden spoke about our program. Since then, there's been a couple of major things I'd like to mention. One is that we made available our public local web portal for our main collection, which is the Human Rights Web Archive. So I won't talk much about it now, but I'll maybe show it a little bit in the member updates during the exit working group on Wednesday. So I'll give you the URL now. It's hrwa.cul.columbia.edu, and it's basically a collection of about 500 plus human rights websites from around the world that we've created a special portal for. So that's sort of the capping off our first 3-year web grant, first grant for web archives at Columbia. That grant is completed. The major objective of that grant was to basically create a freestanding web archive program that Columbia itself would support going on to the future. So that's happened, and so my position is now paid for by Columbia, and our archivist subscription also is paid for by Columbia. But having accomplished that, we still want to develop our program further. So we have a new grant from Mellon, which will hire somebody else to join me. And that grant, I'll describe briefly, it has 4 main components. They're all around the theme of collaboration. And the first type of collaboration is collaboration with other libraries. So the idea is that Columbia, which is already involved in several consortial agreements for other things like interlibrary enrollment or collection development, will now also use those consortia or create new consortia to look at web archiving work. So Columbia might be doing web archiving for small universities in the Northeast, for example, who don't have infrastructure to do it themselves. Columbia might take on that role, so we can investigate that. The second area of collaboration is collaboration with site owners. We always ask for permission from site owners before we call their sites, but we've never gotten to the details of the problems that their sites might be giving us because of technical problems. So we're going to create some best practices. We've seen some of the things that have already been published by IPC members like the Portuguese Web Archive. We're going to gather those best practices for making sites, for designing sites to make them archivable, and try to communicate those to individual site owners for the sites we're crawling. Third is collaboration with users and researchers. So we're going to, because our main collection is human rights, we're going to actually look at a lot of human rights scholarship, try to extract the web references in those articles, and then compare those to our archive and see how successfully we've captured the sites that the researchers actually care about. And that may influence our collection development. We might add new sites based on what we're seeing in the actual scholarship. Also in this round, we're going to be talking to researchers about exactly what it is they need web archives for and what they'd like to do with ours specifically. The last of the 4 main collaboration areas, and the one I think is the most interesting for this group, is collaborating with other web archive organizations. And what that essentially means for this grant is the bulk of this grant from the Mellon Foundation, about $250,000 or $300,000, is going to be money that Columbia actually gives out to other applicants who submit proposals for web archiving tools or other kinds of tools besides those that might benefit harvesting, tools that might improve access, things like that. So any ideas here? I'll give you the details about how that process is going to work, but essentially we created an advisory board. So 2 people from Columbia, my boss Bob Walden and the head of our digital program, Stephen Davis, are going to be on this board, but also they're going to be joined by people who have much more experience with web archiving, namely Chris Carpenter from Internet Archive, Perry Willett from the California Digital Library, Rob Sanderson from Los Alamos National Laboratory, and Mark Phillips from the University of North Texas. So those 6 people together will form a board that will evaluate proposals that come in and decide which ones get funded. And that should happen. They're going to have their first meeting in May, and then they'll release the criteria for our awards, and I'll definitely share it with all the IPC membership libraries. And I think the idea is that we would be awarding some of this money this year, before the end of the year. So